The following podcast is a part of the Spin Studio Network.
This is Happy Hour with Lucy and Nikki. She was singing the funniest
I
song.
left my kids at home because fuck them kids. And then we're all like just chanting the song and it was like, fuck the kids, said fuck them kids. And the whole bus was like stomping. And
That is
it
hilarious.
was so
And
fun.
then didn't she say, stealing all my money for the ice cream truck?
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, babes. Welcome to Happy Hour with Lucy and Nikki, the real life shit that you only discuss over a drink. But before we start, a little disclaimer.
So we're here for a good time and not a long time. So if you are easily offended, then scram.
Scram!
So today we have two of our most fabulous friends. We have Ned and Tegan in of Ned and Tegan presets.
And of Ned and Tegan presets, it's Ned Kelly or Tegan Philippa, as you might know them on the gram.
So they're a couple. They are two of the travel influencing scene's most grooviest cats.
Literally, they are, we always say we're like, if they are literally two people that are meant to be.
Yeah, they're very well suited.
They're so funky.
So Ned and Tegan they're travel influencers, as we said. They own Ned and Tegan presets, as we said. They've just converted this amazing camper van called Dolce
It's this big yellow bus. So they've just started doing that so that they can basically rent it out while they live out their travel dreams.
Yeah,
And
so
then have a
cool.
little home when they come back to Australia. So they kind of just talk about all of their different ways that they make money, like the journey that they've kind of been on thus far, because it hasn't happened overnight for them.
No, it's pretty cool. It's a really interesting story. So they both started off as just like people working, as you do, in
Working class heroes.
and they've kind of created this amazing lifestyle for themselves. So it's really cool to hear how they go about it. So let's bring them in. Without further ado.
So welcome, Ned and Tegan.
I'm here.
the jam,
I'm really
pump it
actually
up.
very excited about this microphone. ladies
Oh my
and
God.
gentlemen. We were on the
Am I
car on the
speaking
way
right?
here.
We were on the car on the way here and Lucy saw this meme and it was like, me, you, and a lit 90s playlist. And we were like, that is literally
us.
Ned and Tegan.
That is us in a
And a
nutshell.
microphone.
And a microphone and a whistle.
So for those of you who don't know Ned and Tegan, they are probably the most well-suited 90s flex of my life.
yeah.
Just to paint you a picture, Ned's wearing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer
My fave, actually. It's a brand new one.
t-shirt.
Brand new one with the hole in it.
And then Tegs has got a pink jumper with a butterfly on it.
And rainbow fingernails. 'cause-
So guys, I want you to basically explain, before we start off, we always ask this, what is your wildest story?
See, we
We didn't
tried
know.
to cover a few of these in the car, and I felt like mine were a little bit too.
Ned's a little bit too wild. I will
Yeah.
say
I
there
feel like
was
Ned's probably not podcast appropriate.
Yeah.
Ned lived
Use
in
your imagination, people.
Berlin
Yeah.
for a year, so just use your imagination on that one. I'd say one involving both of us, maybe in Vietnam.
Vietnam was funny.
Oh,
Yeah, actually,
okay.
you explain that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so a night in Vietnam, we all went out and Ned was drinking rice wine, I believe.
A rack attack.
Yeah, it was like homemade rice wine or whatever the hell it was. Anyway, we went out. Ned got a little bit too drunk, and then we went to Macca's to pee, I believe. And whilst we're in Macca's in the girls' toilets, all of a sudden there was just smoke everywhere and this loud noise, and everyone was like freaking out, like, "Oh my God, is it a bomb? What's happened?" Ned had grabbed the fire extinguisher.
Oh my God.
And was
We were trying
blowing
to-
it in the girls'
yeah.
toilet.
we were trying to leave, and there was a couple of girls who were hanging around in there.
Yeah, it was,
So I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I remember this very well. I grabbed it and
it was
just
pretty.
went ham inside the cubicle.
But everyone was like,
It was all
"Bomb!
fun and
What's going on?"
games. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God,
Isn't
that
that
is
cool?
There was like one
hilarious.
cubicle. You know,
So then we're all like freaking out, like, go, go, go. And we like run for the hills.
Yeah.
And as we're running, we hear sirens and we're like, oh my God.
Wasn't
It's like,
weren't you in Vietnam recently?
this is a while.
yeah, this is ages
2016
ago.
maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then
No,
so
Ned's
as
like, it
we're
was last
running,
week.
as we're like running back to the hotel or wherever we were going, I don't actually know where we were going. We hear sirens. Then Ned goes missing again. We look, he's in like this
It's a
industrial
40-ton excavator. Yeah.
Yeah, he
With a bucket
he saw
on
the
it.
guy was asleep and so jumped inside the excavator and started the engine and was like, woo, look at me. And we were all like, oh my God.
Yes, this mischievous Ned, bring him back.
Is it safe to say you were on a tear?
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
giving it a good
God.
go,
He
mate.
was so
A rack
naughty the
attack
whole
gave
night.
gave me a bit of
Yeah,
a rev
anyways,
up.
we went home shortly after that because I was like, pretty sure we're going to go to jail, so let's go.
You're like a third time and you're officially out.
Yeah, I was like, we're done now.
Two
We're done.
strikes.
Yeah.
I've got like a really quick wild story about you two.
Oh, yeah.
When we were in San Francisco.
Oh, for Pride?
And
we were there at Pride.
We,
That
had,
was so
we went
fun.
out. It was so fun. And Teague's got a little bit too turned.
Can I just say, I had bronchitis. Like I literally had bronchitis and I was on bronchitis medication, okay? And yeah, I got a little bit too lit. I got a
And
little bit too lit.
accidentally,
had a
instead of
little
going
cocktail.
home back to our hotel, because we were staying in the same hotel, like the dodgiest, shittest hotel in San Francisco,
It was a hostel.
Tegan accidentally put the address of where they had been shooting like 45 minutes
On a
out of the
mountain
city. in the
somewhere.
I knew it
mountain.
was a great lookout point though. So,
Stunning.
Yeah.
But then the
Even at
Uber
night?
driver
Yeah.
cracked the shits and
And I get a little bit aggressive
there.
when I'm drunk too. And I think I was fighting with the Uber driver, was I?
I was
a bit lucky with
fighting
me.
with you. Yeah.
Oh, were
We were
we?
fighting, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so
No one
bad.
could
And
believe-
you were so apologetic.
Oh
and
my
I
God, the
was
next
like,
day I was shooketh, as the young ones say, to the core. I was so upset. I was like, oh no, we have to go see Maddie and Lucy and apologise. And then you were like, what are you talking about? I do that every weekend, Queen.
There's anyone that can make another person feel good about being a drunken menace, it's me. Don't worry. Whatever you've
The
done,
Momo.
I've done worse. Anyway, that was a fun little wild
Yeah,
story.
that was
That
a fun
was
little
good,
wild
yeah.
story.
I love that. And then Ned took that really good photo of you and Maddie.
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
guys
and you
sleeping
know
in the
what? That was the
street.
first time you, Lucy and Maddie met.
Yeah, it was. That was
Yeah.
the first time. Yeah.
Like Teagues and I had
What a
worked
place
together
to meet.
before.
I know.
Yeah, it was
Pride
cool.
Week in San Fran. Like, what a vibe.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was-
where the what was the song in the bus?
Fuck the kids.
Fuck them kids. Fuck the kids.
That
Fuck
was
them
like
kids.
that bus went from like here to up here in like seconds. Yeah.
So we actually were on this bus going to Pride Week, and there was this group of like wild lesbians on the bus, and
They were in love with Lucy.
Yeah, because she looked like someone from Wentworth.
Yeah,
Wentworth.
Wentworth. that's it,
Yeah.
and they were like trying to like make a strong move on me, and I was like, oh, sorry, this is my boyfriend kind of thing.
And
But then one of them must have had kids, and I don't think she was a lesbian. She was just out with a group of girls,
Yeah.
and she was singing the
like,
funniest
I
song.
left my kids at home because fuck them kids. And then we're all like just chanting the song, and it was like, fuck the kids, said fuck them kids. And the whole bus was like stomping. And
That is
it was
hilarious.
so
No, and
fun.
then didn't she say, stealing all my money for the ice cream truck?
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Hilarious.
Anyway, let's get into some actual
sorry.
in content, not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Not
just
wild stories.
just banter.
Sorry about that one.
So I think everyone at home would love to know, what do you guys do?
That is a fabulous question that we get asked a lot. Even our parents to this day still don't know what we do.
Still have no idea.
I'm like, I
yeah.
swear I'm not a drug dealer, okay? Because they have no idea what we do.
Well, I think this is the perfect time to explain
Yeah,
it
I
if you're
think it
listening at home, mum and dad.
Do you want to start with what you?
Yeah, so basically we shoot for travel companies. That's part of it, and that's how we kind of got into it. We were shooting. We went on a big trip of about 3-4 years ago, was it?
It was 2015. We
Yeah.
went on a massive. We basically saved everything we had, and we worked 2 jobs each for like a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And then sold everything that we owned and went on this massive like round the world trip for like 7 months or something.
Oh my God.
And through that,
You were just on Instagram a little bit, and you were starting to
I think I
see
had maybe
that
like 10,000 followers.
it was
or something at the
before
time.
travel shots were,
thing.
that was saturated
thing,
with travel
yeah.
shots. You know, it was
Yeah.
like still, it was.
It was like not
beginning.
everyone was doing it.
Yeah, and Teagues kind of saw a bit of a market, and we
Well, I
just
wish I
started
had
hashtagging
known
everyone.
actually
yeah.
more about it back then. I didn't really know that much about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just started like hashtagging and taking photos and documenting our travels. And then travel companies were asking us for our content. And we were like, ooh, this is a bit of a thing.
And like not knowing anything, we were just
No.
like, no,
We
but
just
we were
had,
just
like,
kind of
a
like,
Canon.
oh, you know, if we get a shot in a magazine, oh, that's so good, you know, not
Yeah.
worrying about money. It was
Yeah,
just
just like
Yeah.
stoked to be featured.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just
stoked.
to
So
have-
true.
yeah.
And then from that, it started being like, okay, so then the travel companies would say, hey, guys, actually, can we give you a free trip and send you to X, Y, and Z? And we were just like,
we're like, fuck yes.
Let's do it. So then we were,
That's a long answer for yes.
Yeah.
that was a yes. That was a strong yes. And then, so in between work, we would then go on these like little mini trips away for free and we were like, woohoo. And then slowly, every now and then I'd get some free clothes or like.
And where were you both, sorry to interrupt, where were you both working at the time?
I was working
You were
in
JB Hi-Fi.
Also Mucho's Mexican, shout out to Mucho's Mexican.
Yeah.
And also Blue Door Newcastle, shout out to Blue Door Newcastle. I think they were my jobs at the time.
I was just full-time building. I was DJing on the weekends as
that's
well.
right.
I was DJing sort of 2-3 nights a week and then
Carpenter
full-time
by
building.
day,
And
DJ
it was like
by
making
night.
good money, but then trying to, before this trip, I was doing that. And then after the trip, I think I kind of was doing a bit of both.
You were a bit
of
all
everything.
over the place,
Yeah.
a bit all over the shop.
Building annoyed me. So I had to sort of do other
Imagine
things.
there in your Buffy shirt.
Yeah.
Ned in high vis. What?
You would
It'd be
have
like
made it
custom
so
with these,
trendy
like-
with like a necklace on underneath or something.
Yeah.
like
Dangle
custom
it.
high
We're pushing the
vis.
limits on the building site. Yeah. So
So funny.
So this was, you were like slowly getting a little bit more kind of work.
so
You were both
then
still working in other jobs.
Yeah, we were still working, still didn't really know that that was what we were going to do. We were just like, this is awesome. Like it was just like, free trips. We were obviously working on these trips, like shooting a lot of content for them, videos, whatever they needed. And then the more we got into it and realized what it was, the more Ned especially was just deep in tutorials, studying photography, videography.
yeah, I always had a bit of a knack for it.
He
Like
was
I
just becoming
enjoyed
obsessed.
it. Yeah, and I enjoyed photography, and I think the more tutorials I watched, the more I started to understand it, and I started to get the hang of it. And
Yeah.
interesting. You know, when you just sort of you find a bit of you just start to see it a little bit.
And because
And
you
it-
loved it, you were just like,
Yeah, and I just started to
Learn
really,
Obsessed.
really enjoy it. And there was like, you could see a bit of a market in the early Instagram days too, like shooting that kind of stuff and getting a like or a response or a comment or
oh, back then
People's-
reposts were huge too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you got a repost from a big account. That meant you would get
Like
100,000
30
followers.
numbers.
It was like
Yeah.
the algorithms were so different then. They were just
Yeah.
Now it's so different
It's
now.
not as-
though, but
yeah.
So that's
Bit harder.
basically, I guess, how that sort of stuff started, like the travel stuff. And then I guess I was kind of before Instagram, well, not before Instagram, but before it was what it was. I was just kind of helping out friends. I loved photography. I studied that in school, and I also went to fashion business college. Excuse you very much. So I was really into like fashion and styling. So me and my friends had a few creative friends. We'd do like photo shoots and stuff, and I'd help styling or I'd be in the photos or whatever. And then there was just like a few online magazines that I got in modeling, and that's how that I guess
And then I
started.
poached you for Princess Polly.
Lucy
Yeah.
Jackson over here.
You're welcome. Sorry, am I?
I know.
Did I find you?
I feel like you just,
Did you discover her?
discover me?
I think I did.
Was there photos of you holding up the sheet at Princess
Oh my
Polly?
God, I
Well,
sent that to you the other day, the video of you holding up
the video,
the
yeah.
sheet.
Oh, I don't think you sent that to me.
Oh, was that in our backyard?
No,
No, that was
Mendonca.
Mendonca.
Yeah.
So then that was in like 2016. I got contacted by Lucy for Princess Polly to do the Bachelorette.
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Another
the jacket you made. Yeah, I remember that.
fantastic
Mark Jackson.
marketing initiative from
Yeah.
Lucy Jackson.
Yeah.
Trademark.
So they basically got girls to customize their own denim jackets,
Yeah.
and you'd vote, then you'd win
Bunch
the
of
jacket.
influencers.
Each
Yeah.
weekly. I was the first to go.
Oh,
Was that ring?
But
by
your
the
jacket
way?
was
No.
rad.
Oh.
Yeah, I still have it. I love
Your
that
jacket
jacket.
was amazing, but
Thriller.
you had the least amount of followers,
I had
basically.
like maybe
Yeah, I think
But
that's
having
right.
said that,
20,000
though,
followers maybe I had, I think, ish.
having
around
said that, though, it's like, although you got out first, awesome opportunity
Oh,
to get
huge.
eyeballs
Oh, it
on
was
you.
massive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was great. And
Yeah.
then I've worked with Princess Polly like
ever since.
ever since, yeah, which is great.
Love
Thanks,
that.
girls.
You're welcome. Just fully claiming.
Thanks, girls. Lucy, actually.
Lucy. And then the other thing, like completely losing our train of thought there, another way that we make our moolah is through our presets as well, which we sell.
Tell us more about presets, because
They're very popular at the moment.
yeah, it's
They're very
such a thing at the moment. A lot of influencers sell their Lightroom presets.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you at home who don't have any idea what a preset is, it's like a pre-made filter for to
Yeah, it's
apply to your
basically just like a
images.
filter. Yeah.
Just for Lightroom though, Lightroom. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
use it
just
in
through the
Lightroom
Lightroom app.
So like
Yeah.
Lightroom was I should say, a program that photographers use to edit all their photos. And Lightroom brought out a free app, so a mobile version. And then when they brought that out, then people started selling, because you could always, you've always been able to buy presets. So for example, if you were a wedding photographer and you shot a wedding and then you wanted it to all look a certain aesthetic, you would, buy someone's preset or make your own presets.
Yeah, right.
So that all the photos have that same sort of vibe to them, whether it be like neutral or beige or something like that. And then when it came out for mobile, obviously it's hugely popular because of Instagram. So then people that are photographers or influencers or whatever that have
it's way more technical too. Like it's not like you can just like paste it on. It's like you sort of have to know what you're doing a bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. Like, I think people just started to figure out that you could do, you could save mobile presets. We learnt from other friends of ours how to do it sort of earlier on. Yeah, everyone kind of does it, but it's an easy way to apply a professional preset to any photo, and like if you kind of got to know what you're doing. It's not as easy as like an app throwing something on
like
and whatever
Disco or
else,
something.
but
Yeah. But the great thing about it is after you apply the preset, then all the tools are in that app for whatever else you want to do for that
you can
image.
do everything.
Light, color. You can even like select individual colors. It's it's really cool what you can do.
So sorry,
I was going to say, when did you have the idea to do that? Was people always asking you how you edited your photos?
Well,
because you guys have
Quite a
such a
bit.
strong editing style, I would say.
yeah. I guess our friend Hailsa actually kind of convinced us in the beginning. We met her in Positano and she was selling them, and we were still on the fence thinking like, well, you're kind of selling your brand in a way or your
People
vibe.
were
Like, and I
funny
was a
about
bit
it. Yeah.
like, oh, well, I want to keep that to ourselves. We don't want to sell what we do.
Yeah.
But then it was like, whoa.
There's a lot of people still against
best
it too. Like they don't. There's a lot of people who are,
Very
professional
anti.
photographers or influencers who strongly advise people not to sell the presets because that's their style, right?
yeah, of course.
But
But you'll sell your soul to the devil to make a bit of
yeah,
coin.
Like a bit of coin.
so-
No, I think it's cool that you can go and share your creativity because I feel like that's
And that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of people selling them at the moment, but also it's awesome because whoever you like, if you like their style, it's, everyone, it's like clothes, everyone's got a different style or aesthetic or whatever, and you purchase whoever's vibe that you like.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different ones out there, so it's great.
Yes, seriously.
that's so cool. And so would you say that the presets is like your main source of income?
Well, it's kind of
All
a
kind of
good
split.
backbone, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It's a good sort of trickle that
Yeah.
comes through when we're sort of jumping between jobs.
Yeah.
Because we'll have big travel jobs that come through, but they might have a bit of bit of space in between. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to have
Bit of
this little-
consistency.
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah.
So.
Because, you guys would know that's the hardest thing about what we do, I guess, is, well, you don't usually have like a weekly income anymore. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see.
It's amazing what you can do when you're backed into a corner, like what you can make work if you need things to work and whatever else. When you haven't got a regular 9 to 5, you make anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like with your weeks, how much time would you spend kind of like doing back end stuff, I don't know, creating presets or whatever, versus like actually shooting or
Yeah. Okay. Well,
would you say,
good
just
question.
to step in quickly, would you say I feel like your work isn't even more set up in weeks, it's more like based around trips?
trips?
Yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
that's probably a better way. So, for example, we're about to go away now in 2 weeks. So we know we've got this like little window of time before stuff gets hectic, because as soon as we go away, there's going to be strict deadlines. Our days are going to be full, plus editing and all the other stuff that will be due. So when there's downtime like this, it's good to get all that stuff. Like
if you're going to
develop
launch a new
presets.
product,
Yeah.
it's good time to do
Like
it.
that probably took you, like we just released over the last month, I think we've released 2 different packs.
Yeah.
And I think that they'd probably take about a week, I reckon,
To
to
make, yeah.
really perfect. And then like a usual day, for example, for me in the mornings, I usually do all the preset emails, customer inquiries, and then do all the Instagram page and all that sort of stuff. That's like that probably takes maybe like 2 hours. And then I do my own personal emails and stuff like that. So it's a good chunk of the morning spent doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and our work, I feel like there's never really any downtime as well. Like we love it, but it's 7 days a week. you're constantly answering emails, like you guys would know as well. And then in between there, I'm editing photos and videos for companies, and I end up sort of tacking more jobs onto that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's always like
always busy.
this
Yeah.
constant feed of work, which is great though. So
And it's like a good problem to have, but like you guys are even having to research where you're going to be shooting. Okay, we got this trip coming up.
That's
What's cool
huge
to see
too.
there? Like
Yeah.
that's one thing Luce and I always say. We're like, Ned and Tegs will come and visit us. And they'll be like, oh, sorry, getting up at 5 a.m. because we want to do a sunrise shot over at
Blah, blah, blah.
this place. And
Yeah.
we're like, really? Don't want to just
Yeah.
come for brekkie?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just get a photo on a white wall and call
So
it a
we're
day?
always like, you guys deserve it because like you're dedicated.
That's
Yeah.
One thing I will say about you two as well, having known you I guess I knew you before your presets and kind of your steady income really started, and I had actually kind of
when I was
hung
eating
out with
cornflakes
you.
for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, that's it. Like what people don't realize is for you guys to have been able to do what you have done for as long as you have. When you were on that America trip and Maddie and I spent some time with you, you were literally like going to the grocery shop and eating like 2-minute noodles for meals
Yeah,
so
that
that
was
you
tough.
could afford
that was a
to.
full
budgets.
uni budget, man.
Yeah.
We
and
both
it's
come
been
back.
like that for a long, like it was like that for a long time. Like
Yeah.
I think I get a lot of DMs from people that are like, oh my God, how do you travel full time? How do you do this?
And you're like, because I eat mee goreng for 3 meals a
Yeah,
day.
and
I
it's
remember when
what
you
I
boiled
guess-
ravioli in a kettle.
Oh, that was only
Hey, that was
Genius.
genius. That was genius, by the way.
That's the thing. Like you've got to really make. I guess it's like we're not like when you usually save up to go for a trip. Say like you say you're going to Europe next year or something like that. You save up X amount of money and you go and you live your best life for that X amount of time. But when you're doing it like what we do for work and you want to travel a lot, there's a lot of
You have to like
things that you miss
pinch
out
your
on.
pennies.
Yeah, so like we wouldn't go out for dinner.
Tell the
when we're
story about the
traveling.
tent. How you slept in that tent in the place that never goes dark.
In
Norway,
in
yeah.
Norway, yeah, we
Yeah,
were in
that's
the
pretty recent, yeah.
Lofoten Islands.
Yeah.
in
That was
Norway.
really cool, actually. Like that place.
Think of Vikings.
Yeah.
If you watch Vikings, and that's the Lofoten Islands, basically.
That's
Wow.
cool.
I mean, it's like
Sun
pretty
never
cool
set,
place.
and my sister actually lives in Norway, and we really wanted to go to Lofoten Islands, and should I say Lofoten Islands because I sound really weird saying Lofoten Islands.
Is that how you pronounce it though?
I think
Yeah,
so,
I think
yeah.
I do, yeah.
Sorry for all my Norwegians out there. Probably just butchered that. But yeah, we really wanted to go there. It was really, really expensive. And so my sister suggested, she was like, oh, in Norway, it's legal to camp anywhere. You can set up a tent anywhere as long as you're, I think it's 100 or 200 meters from someone's house. So we were like, cool, okay, so we'll fly there, buy a tent, fly there and camp. And it was summer in Norway. So we were like, oh, it won't be cold. Didn't really look into
Yeah.
that.
We honestly made this tent decision when we were
Literally
in
probably
Norway.
like 2 days
Like
before
2
we
days
left.
out, we're like, actually, let's just camp because it sounds way easier. So we went out
And
and bought
cheaper because then I
camp
looked
gear.
at
Yeah.
accommodation and it was
And
like
camp for a whole week,
$500
yeah.
a night for a cabin, and I was like,
Not a chance.
Not a
Yeah.
chance. So,
They're the funnest trips though when they're so unplanned.
Oh my God.
And like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as you know, yeah.
but the
so-
best moment of it was, so we thought we were so prepared. Got there, it was fucking freezing. It
Yeah.
was so
Oh, and you
cold.
bought the kids' sleeping bag.
And we go to roll the tents out, and then I go to hop into my sleeping bag, and I had bought a child's sleeping bag. At that point, I just
no.
like lost it because I was
Teens is
freezing.
tall too.
I'm really tall. I'm a huge bitch. And it was like maybe 2 a.m. when we figured, because the sun doesn't set there in the summer, so it dips to like the horizon, and then it comes back up again. So the sun doesn't set. We're in a tent, never goes dark. Freezing.
I just go mad.
Titties
So
off.
like,
I felt
no
bad,
showers.
so I took
Wet
the
wipe
hit
baths.
and wore the little like child sleeping bag, which was it came
Oh,
up
yeah,
to
he was
here
like,
and
I'll wear it, I'll wear it.
It was
Just below nipple height.
below nipple height.
It was a cold week for us.
Yeah.
And we were eating, so like we have the world's most annoying diets too. I'm gluten intolerant and it's Norway and everything is just, and I'm also vegetarian. Everything's like fish and bread and cheese. So I found, you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, bring it on.
yeah. So
But
Teagues is vegetarian, gluten free, and Ned is
Dairy free, yeah.
he's allergic to dairy.
vegetarian,
Vegetarian,
dairy
dairy-free.
free.
Yeah.
Pescatarian.
Yeah, no, No, sorry, I do eat fish. Yeah.
Eat fish. We're
Pescatarian
heaps
dairy-free.
annoying. So like
Pesco.
trying to explain that to people.
I literally hate going out for meals with you two.
Yeah.
And then if you throw M. Davies and Lily in the mix, it's like
But I just don't make
bullet
a
in my
deal
head.
because I try and I get really not embarrassed, but I hate when it's a fuss.
Having to ask heaps of questions.
So I just
Yeah.
almost want to be like, oh, is this?
It's not like M where we'll go somewhere and she'll go to the weight stuff. Is there gluten in this? It's like, surely you know by now if you're gluten intolerant.
She's so funny.
Oh shit. But yeah, so that was a little bit of a budget trip. But you can, it's like you guys talked about it in one of your recent podcasts, traveling on a budget. It can be done.
I think that people need to realize too for you guys, it's not like your career was like one of similar to say Gypsy Lust or Do You Travel, where it's like they blew up and like from overnight they went just had shitloads of money. So for you guys to be like incrementally building your business, so you need to travel in order for you to grow your portfolio
That's where all
and
your
your
money goes.
Instagram. So you need to travel, but you're not really earning that much money yet because you didn't have a huge following in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it really was like you were risking it
We-
for the biscuit and you were working hard.
Paid off.
And you,
Tell us the story
Risking
about
it
the
for
5
the-
a.m. Coliseum.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, so we'd been in Rome. We were at Rome, say 3 years ago or something, and we kind of knew roughly where to stay because we knew the spot. So we booked a hotel directly across the road from the Colosseum, knowing where it was. We even looked it on Google. That's another little tip we do. We'll look at Google Maps, like satellite version, and just check everything out, like what could work. Because a lot of those places, main cities, have 3D version in Google Maps. You might know you can turn it into 3D, and you can
Street view.
Street view. You can kind of no. There's actual 3D version. Like you'll have to have a look at it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But the setup, I guess, was more, as everyone knows, it's very saturated at the moment with travel content. And so we're like, I just want to do something. Like we're just trying that whole Europe trip. We were just trying to do different things. And we were like, how
This
can
was
we,
last year when we were all in Paris together around that time. Yeah.
We were like, how do we shoot Rome different that looks cool? And we had this idea. I think you came up with it. The scooter.
I remember
He was
seeing
like,
something kind of similar
I really
somewhere.
want scooter, but with movement. And he was like, how can we get the both of us scooting around the Colosseum?
Oh my God.
And I was like, in my
And
head,
how did you do it? Because we will put this photo up on our Facebook group so
Yeah,
everyone
it's
can
so
see it.
sick.
It's the coolest
Like
photo.
I literally have it in my house. It's
Yeah.
the biggest vibe.
I can frame that for you.
It's so cool.
Well, thank you very much. But basically, so the army is at the Colosseum 24/7, and there is a road that goes around the Colosseum. It's like a big roundabout, but they have blocked off a portion of it, and there's a portion of it that you can still kind of drive in and do a Yui. And so we looked at that and thought, oh, cool, well, we could just sit the scooter out the front of it. But Ned was like, no.
Had to make it better.
He's
You
like,
have to
I
be
need
on
the
it.
movement.
You can't
Yeah.
just be sitting on it. Yeah, so he wanted the movement. So we went down at, like, what time was it?
It's about
5 a.m.?
5:30. We got down there.
AM.
AM. There wasn't
Early in the morning.
that many police and army down there just
I don't
yet.
think they were there yet. Or
They
there might
rock
have
up
been one
around
copper.
7. There was just a few people. Yeah, it was just a few security guards.
And so we set the tripod up, and then Ned got everything ready to rock and roll. And then I basically just sat on the back with a fan and tried to look as extra as possible.
So
And then we
sick.
literally only had with the timer 2 goes before the first copper was like, yeah, do it. He was like
All
so
good,
down
yeah.
for us to do
Oh,
it.
legend.
Yeah,
and then
he's
as
chill.
we were doing the second one, the army started rolling in, and then another copper came up to us and he was like, you go, you cannot be here, and like yelled at us, and we're like, no worries. And we thought, oh, we definitely didn't get that. And then we went back and sat in the room and we were like,
And there was this one like perfect one. It just worked out so well.
It's so
God.
cool. Like
Yeah.
even the way Tegan's sitting so like relaxed on the back of the scooter.
yeah.
I was just trying to be extra doll.
Literally with that big fan. It's the biggest vibe. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, so what's travel like for you guys? Because a lot of people think that, you know, as influencers, you just kind of wake up and go and live your best life and drink cocktails and that's your day. But that's not even like that for us. And so I can confirm that it's definitely not like that for you guys.
100%.
It's just work. It's just flat out
Give us
work
a-
from start to finish.
Give us
So
a rough rundown of a day.
a rough rundown is like after a bunch of research, wherever we're going, where to shoot.
Ned's a sunrise person, and I am like,
I love the
the
idea of
devil
getting
in
up
the morning.
really early,
Oh my
shooting.
God.
Low light and shadows is my vibe. I love that kind of stuff. So shooting early or late is the best.
Yeah.
And
time,
also
so-
shooting early, traveling as well, you miss the crowds of people. That's
Yeah.
another tip. So if you want to get in before the heat and before
Yeah.
crowds roll in, you got to go early.
It's like in Paris, you can pretty much like get up at 7 a.m. and you'll be the only person on the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it is relaxing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we found
Everything
that.
happens late in Europe.
But
Yeah.
that's our whole day is just planned where we're going to shoot next, and that's the entire day. And then you get
How we're
home
going to
at
make
like
it look different and
Paris. We got home at 10 p.m. every night, just so tired because we just shot every day.
Yeah.
running around and you're
Every
carting all
spot.
your equipment around.
Yeah.
You're constantly kind of on.
Well, these
especially if
guys,
it's-
you guys took me for a bit of a half day to
Yeah.
do some
Just for a
shooting
spin.
for a Basic Girls Guide coming soon. And honestly, by the end of that day, I was exhausted.
Buggered.
Yeah.
I was like, I am so tired. I don't know how you guys do that all the time.
It's pretty, you don't really think, I guess people don't really think about it. But even if you think like, okay, so for a travel company, if they're wanting lots of group, it might not even be content that we're posting. It's just for them, for their brochures or their website or whatever. And they want lots of group stuff. Then you got to figure out a way to shoot the group when they've paid to be on this trip and try and, not
Make it
feel
as
like we're,
enjoyable.
you got to make it
Yeah.
enjoyable, but you also got to try and capture moments. And,
Yeah.
if you miss a moment, you're like, oh, woo, can you do that again? Woo.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the times, say in Paris, we'll if we're shooting for a few different clients, they got different styles. So
Yeah, lots of different styles.
Teagues, I'll shout out to Teagues, shoot for this person, and she'll throw up a peace sign and be real
like,
happy.
"Woo!"
Shoot for this person, she'll pose really like chill or whatever, and then let's shoot our style, and then
it'll be like me doing
crooked
weird
and blurry and
positions.
whatever else.
Oh, I love that.
That's so cool. Like,
We're always just thinking like who would want what and dollars and that kind of
Just-
stuff. I guess.
Yeah.
Just
Work,
waiting
so.
for us to be on one of those Instagram pages where they make fun of people getting.
oh, what's
photos.
that called again?
Yeah.
Brown
Yeah.
cardigan.
Brown cardigan.
Oh, Ned's been on Brown Cardigan actually.
Yeah, I have actually.
What,
It's a
back in
great
the
photo
early,
of someone.
early
Photo.
days?
What
No,
was
when he
that?
was a little bit lit.
Yeah, it was.
Back in his Berlin days, I believe.
We ran a night.
I need to know more about these Berlin days, to be
Oh,
honest.
Some
you
wild
would
stories.
love.
So it was one night we ran
I wasn't
this
around
dark
here.
little club near Kreuzberg, and it was so cool. Not that many people turned up, but it was really cool though. And by the end of the night, the guy had shut the bar, and it was just me and 3 other guys that ran the night. And the photo is of myself going off stairs in a wheelchair, like just about to axe myself.
Oh, no.
The
He's
other
like
guys,
mid-air
the other
on-
guys
in a
ripped
wheelchair?
his shirt in half. Seconds later, he'd lit that alight, and there was another guy, my other friend. He's just leaning on the booth, like just sort of smiling and just sort of like really
So you can
chilling
imagine
out.
this
That is
picture.
hilarious.
There's one guy ripping his
Just-
shirt off. There's one guy flying with a in a wheelchair, and then there's another guy just chilling and watching him.
It was
That was
yeah.
his Brown
God, it was
Cardigan
funny, though.
debut.
Yeah, we're
need
gonna
to
I'll
show
dig
us
it
that
up.
bloody
We're going to
Photo.
get this photo
Put it up on the
for
Facebook,
the
yeah.
Facebook group
Yeah.
as well.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
When I had long hair too, by the way, I had long hair forever.
Oh,
I
see, I
cannot
love the short
imagine that.
peroxide.
Yeah, so
Okay, so what is your worst travel story then? You've obviously traveled a lot. I want to know the worst thing that's ever happened, biggest disaster.
I think personally, so when we went to India, it was really poor timing. So the country had just had this massive money. I can't remember what
It was a
exactly
big-
happened, but they basically the banks didn't have money, the ATMs didn't have money. It'd be the equivalent of like the Australian government saying, as of 2 weeks' time, we're no longer accepting the $50 note. And so all the Indians that had cash, which a lot of them keep their money in cash,
yeah.
they were only allowing them to swap their money over in increments each day. Anyway, it was terrible. There were people like
They only
dying
had
at
a-
the ATMs, dying
Yeah.
at the banks. Like it was a
That-
really bad time to be.
They only had like
landing.
a small window of time to do it. That's
Yeah.
there was this huge crisis amongst the locals. Like
terrible.
people died at ATMs
Yeah.
trying
Oh
to
my
just like
was
in
brutal.
bank lines trying to get into the bank just to change their money over. It was the weirdest thing. And
So
then,
we had
gnarly.
we
Yeah.
had no idea. So we went to get Indian rupee before we left, and it wasn't in any of the money exchange places. We're like, that's weird. We get there and we're like, oh, can we pull money out? Oh, none of the ATMs are pulling money out. Weird. And then we tried to get money from one of their money exchanges, and they kept saying like, oh, there's an issue. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And we're like, still not really figuring out what the crisis was. By day 2, we still had no money, and we're like, how do we pay for things? And then we started realizing how severe the issue was.
Yeah.
And luckily we were on a tour, and our guide, he ended up having cash to pay for everyone for the tour, and we just paid him back when we got to
God bless
Nepal.
him.
Thank
What was his
God.
name?
Elias. Pradeep.
Pradeep.
Was it Pradeep?
Thank goodness for
PJ.
Pradeep.
Paid the
Literally.
whole,
Yeah,
for the
paid
whole
for
tour.
everyone,
Yeah.
for water, food, and everything until we got to the next country.
He was
But
rolling, but
yeah, that probably was a bad experience. Even like on the train, I had like a little anxiety
was
attack
wild,
when we got on
yeah.
the train. Like it was just that was a tough trip, and we got
Yeah.
very sick.
Yeah.
Lots of diarrhea, lots of spewing. Oh, it was
That's
gorge.
stunning.
Taj
was a
Mahal was
gorge
really
time.
tough. We
It
got to the
sounds like a
Taj Mahal.
time.
Yeah, we
Oh.
almost.
Why was the Taj Mahal tough?
Well, I almost shit my pants
Well, I mean-
on the floor. So.
Taj
That'll
Mahal.
do it.
Taj Mahal, if you ever go,
Great photo we got.
It's
Great.
it's better than what you would like predict. You know, it's what you've ever seen before. It's 10 times that. It's like unbelievable.
wow.
We went there so sick, like
So sick.
crazy diarrhea, throwing up, whatever else. But we had to get these shots because it was like
I was literally
the hero
saying to
shot of the whole
myself-
campaign.
And so
right?
you were working on this
working
trip.
on
Yeah,
this trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself out loud as Ned would go, like, go now to get the shot, like waiting for people or birds to fly or whatever. I was literally saying to myself, do not shoot yourself, Tegan. You're struggling with this. Do
I
not
was,
shoot yourself. Do not
saying
shoot
the
yourself.
same
I was
thing
trying
behind the lens, you know.
so hard to not release my bowels.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than getting that kind of sick when you're traveling and you don't know
You
where
have
a
no
toilet
energy,
Painful, yeah.
and you think like, well, if this happens, this is what happens.
And all you
just
want to
say
do is
I've-
be at home, comfortable with
Yeah.
safe water.
Let's just say I've had a little bit of IBS in China.
Yeah.
Sorry, Guangzhou. Apologies in advance to anyone who entered the toilets after.
Oh dear Lord.
and yeah, you have to squat for those ones too. So
yeah.
That was mainly
That's a leg
mainly
workout
what
in
I was.
itself, isn't it? Yeah. India was a squat too. Oh, the train toilets was a vibe. Okay, I just want to set
you
this
just
up
see
for
the
you.
train tracks.
So yeah, you walk into the toilet. It's a hole in the ground of the train where you can see the train tracks underneath you, and you aim for the hole. And let me tell you, no one was making that hole because the whole floor was shit.
Oh my
Real
god!
1950s vibe. Yeah.
We were like, this is a move.
Just all the tourists
That
like, can't aim like
We needed a big shower after that train ride.
Okay, to wrap up the travel segment of
Segment.
today, your 3 best tips for creating amazing travel content.
Ooh, what's number 1, Ned?
Number 1, I guess do the research. Find out about the spots.
Good tip.
Google all the spots before you go because that's the biggest thing. You don't want to go there and not know where to go. So.
Pinterest, Instagram.
Yeah.
I usually save, for example, if we're going to Portugal, I'll make a folder on Instagram in my saved called Portugal, and then any images I see from there that inspire me, I'll just save in there, and then you can kind of
we
get a
sort of-
vibe of the locations that you like.
We'll run through it and we'll go yes, no, yes, no. kind of thing.
Yeah, so research is a good one. I would also say too, like we were saying before, get there early
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
because lighting gets harsh in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
and there just gets people everywhere, and it just kind of becomes frustrating. So I think it's easier to go real and great lighting too. To go early
Great
in the morning.
photos early on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle of the
Bang
day.
it out,
no
get it
good,
done,
it's
go
too
for
harsh.
brekkie.
Yeah, exactly.
Research,
Yeah.
get it done early.
Yeah.
What will be tip number 3? Get
Um,
our Lightroom presets.
yes,
That's
great.
it.
Cheeky plug. Tegan
the
and Ned
mic.
presets.
Taking their presets,
Give
ladies
them a
and
follow,
gentlemen.
buy them.
They'll
We
make
might
your
even put a
pics
cheeky
pop.
discount in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Oh,
we can do
yeah.
that.
Do you wanna
We can
do
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that in the Facey group.
LJ comes through with the ideas.
Oh,
Marketing
you.
geniuses over there.
trademark TM. Okay, so now we want to go and talk to you guys about your new van. I need to know a few things.
Dolce Soul.
Tell
We've
us
been
about
calling it
Dolce.
Dulcie.
Oh,
Dolce.
Dulce. Oh, bloody
Dolce.
Dulce.
Dulce.
Bloody Dulce
I
solely.
think I like the name Dulce better.
Dolce is way more suited to you
Dolce.
guys though. Dolce, baby.
You gotta be like, Dolce Soul.
What is it? Dolce Sola.
Yeah, I think
Sweet
it's,
son.
look, I think it's soul. It means
Oh,
sweet
cute.
son. So basically the
It's a
van
big yellow
is-
van.
Yeah, the van's yellow and it's a Fiat, which is Italian. So we're like, let's tune with the Italian theme.
I love that.
And
we were
call
worried
it
that
Dolce
it being
Soul.
yellow and it being, you know,
DHL.
I was worried about
Yeah.
it conking
Yeah,
out
true.
and being a big lemon and having the tag.
Oh
The
my
lemon.
God.
The
But
big old lemon.
so
big
far,
lemon.
so good. So
Oh, thank
yeah,
God.
yeah.
And you just drove it like a fair distance too. So
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just drove it all the way here last night. We drove it with maybe like 2 stops, I think.
tell that story because we were with you guys when you had a massive setback.
Oh, yeah, we got ripped off.
Wow, that was straight
Ripped
after
off.
we just wrapped up the campaign in New York.
Yeah, we
Everyone
were on
on-
the
everyone's
biggest
on a high.
because
No.
Ned had shot our Endlessly Love Club campaign
Yeah.
in New York, so we were like, "Whoa, let's
Everyone's
just have a shower,
high-fiving,
get
the
Nick
champagne
downstairs
being
for
popped."
booze."
Yeah.
So basically, we bought the van last minute decision just before, because Ned and I basically we don't really have a home. We were living in Bali for a bit last year, But because we travel so much, the apartment we were renting in Sydney, we let go because it was too expensive. And we just were like, okay, a van's a great idea because then when we're in Australia, we can be anywhere and live in the van. And then when we're out, we can rent it out. So, and Ned being a carpenter, we thought that'd be great. He can deck it out. But at the time, we realized we were short for time and we found this guy that was going to renovate it for us. He says he was halfway through the renovation.
That
However,
fucking guy, honestly.
he was not halfway. Anyway, so when we're in New York on our high, we get a phone call from him. He's left the van out on the street, which he shouldn't have. It should have been in the garage. And someone has smashed into it and
Like wrote it off.
Pretty much.
Well, we thought
Wasn't
it was
far
a
from it,
write-off.
yeah.
And at the time, it was only insured for the cost that the van had cost us to purchase. It wasn't for the fit out because you couldn't we couldn't get it insured for the fit out until it was actually done, like the cost, obviously, of how much it cost. So that's why it was supposed to be in the garage. And we were freaking out thinking it was a write-off because in our heads we're like, if it's a write-off, we've lost the money that we've paid this guy already. It ended up being a very big, hard blessing in disguise because when we got the van back, we have realised that he'd done a lot of things not to Ned's standards, shall we
So
say.
it was Dolce in that he had.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the van.
Oh, cool.
So
I
it
didn't
didn't
know
end
if
up
you
being
ended
a
up getting a
write-off.
second one. Perfect.
Luckily, the way it got hidden into was straight into the back, not on an angle, which means
it was one
just the
panel.
back doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just had to get the back doors replaced. So it was fine. And those back doors originally were a little bit screwed up anyway. So got new back doors. Thanks,
So it
babe.
worked
Glass
out.
half full, people. I love this
half full.
attitude.
Yeah,
New
it worked
doors
out,
there.
so. I think his vision was a little off from what we had in mind. So
I
We
feel like
paid
this
him
is
a
the
lot of
best
money.
case scenario.
it worked.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
worked
way we
out
saw
well.
it.
You made
We thought-
lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah,
We
because
did.
yeah, if like for example, if that crash hadn't happened and he had have built the van and we got it back, the electricals would have been wrong.
I would
the
have hated it.
fit out would
I
have been
honestly would have
wrong.
hated
It just
Yeah.
wouldn't have been up to what we had envisioned. And then
Yeah.
Ned has taken over and we have, I say we, but really I've done nothing but whinge the whole time. We have created our little dream.
argument here.
Home on
So
wheels.
Dolce Soul, for
Dolce
those
Soul.
all wondering at
Dolce
home,
Soul.
is now very soon going to be available for rent. So
Yeah.
basically,
It is,
you
yeah.
can rent it.
Yeah, so it's a
That's
new
gonna
little
become
biz
another
we
business,
thought-
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so it'll be
the
another little avenue.
project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love this. You've kind of created almost like your personalities and life into like your hobbies, which is then now turned into like your
Work.
income,
Yeah.
which is
Which
cool.
is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like goes back to what Ned was saying before. You were saying how when you're backed into a corner, you figure things out.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you're backed into a corner. you know?
Yeah.
How you can make
Yeah.
things work and be like, all right, well, how are we going to do this? But
Yeah.
there was a few times where I almost threw in the towel with that van when
Oh, yeah.
things would come up and more money we'd have to fork out, and I was just like, why? And now I'm like, woo!
Well, they've driven it up here and it's so cool.
Yeah.
We actually
Yeah.
haven't had a
It's a
proper
mood.
tour yet. I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
excited.
To go for a lap, definitely.
Hot
So
lap.
keen for a
Yeah,
hot
it's still
so
not
when's
like
it gonna be fully available to rent?
It's like 80% done, so
The-
we're hoping
Yeah, you go.
middle of the year for like Europe. I
The,
reckon.
the big rush was to
Amazing.
get it done before we went away to Japan on
Like
the
the main
22nd.
Yeah.
And it'll get done, I think, but we also need to shoot content for it so we can kind of
And we
promote
also-
it
Of
properly.
course,
We don't
yeah.
want to half-ass
And
it.
we also
so.
wanted to be in it just to see what other things we might want to take out
sure.
or add in.
Properly
like,
test
Little
ride
things.
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
test it
yeah.
and see. And it'll be our home, but it can also be your home.
Yeah.
I love that. Put that in your bloody bio.
Write that down.
Write
And
that
so,
one down.
Teags, another thing that you talk a lot on your Instagram about is your kind of body stuff. So
Body stuff.
I don't
Body
really
stuff.
know
Technical,
how to
technical.
say this. I would say like you're a size 10 to 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12. It fluctuates.
And so you're a model. And so
I'm a
technically,
model, darling. A model.
technically people refer to that in the industry as a plus size model. I don't think if I can 10 to
Yeah.
12 is a plus size, but you know what I mean.
That is.
So
yeah.
basically, just to give everyone some context if they don't know who you are and what you're all about. So Teags is like a big advocate for kind of like body positivity,
just like, yeah,
and
loving
normalising-
yourself.
Yeah.
you know, normalizing what God gave you,
Yeah.
even though I don't believe in God. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Me neither, but shout out to God. If you're listening, shout out.
He's tuning into
Represent.
happy hour. But that kind of thing. So it's more like you talk about, I think you're a really great person to have within the social media landscape because, you do model for people like Princess Polly, which is one of Australia's biggest online stores.
Yeah.
And you're kind of out there preaching the good word of, love the skin you're in, and your weight has fluctuated a lot over the years.
Yeah, like how has
much.
How has like your body positivity journey been for you? Like, did you ever have a time where you were really self-conscious? Because like you're so
all the time, still
loud
even
and proud,
now.
baby.
I'm like, think I'll save lives.
yeah. Like how do you like balance that? Like, because we all have good days and bad days.
Oh, that's the thing. Like even now, like it's always up and down, but I try and preach it as much as possible because it also helps me, I guess, when I will post a photo and maybe there's a little bit of cellulite or maybe there's a little bit of something. And then people that comment and message and be like, oh my God, like you have made me feel more confident to wear a bikini. Even though like I'm just a normal, everyone's a normal size, but I feel like the hard thing is if you're not in this industry, if you're not a size 6 or 8, then you are plus size, technically a plus size model. And it's
I hated even saying that to you then.
Yeah.
But
it's like, and it should all just be normal. It's just bizarre. And it's changing heaps. Like it really is.
Yeah.
I see the change happening, even like you were saying with Princess Polly and like lots of bigger online stores and brands. So it's really good, but I just try and preach it as much as possible because it is something that does still lack a little bit on, like, even when I'm scrolling on Instagram, a lot of the time it is that same sort of body type that's always flooding my feed, and it sometimes gets me down. Like, I'll be super pumped up, loving myself sick, and then some mornings, I have a scroll through Instagram, and then it can sometimes make me feel a bit down because I'm like,
haters still. Like, there's a lot of people that still nitpick.
Surely they've got to be trolls though.
Yeah, there's a few trolls. That doesn't offend me. The trolls don't offend me.
No.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, your own insecurities sometimes get the better of you, but you've just got to get through it too.
People, it kind of blows my mind sometimes what people are confident to say to a
keyboard warriors.
Like over
but the thing
message
is, like,
or like
imagine though
or
that
comments.
person, would you walk up to someone on the street and say that to their
Never.
face?
No.
And I'm like, well then
That they
don't.
complain at a restaurant, the lemons.
I always imagine trolls to be some weird like little.
Can I speak to the manager?
I always
Catfish.
envision trolls sometimes to be like little gremlins that sit at home in like a dark bedroom.
That's
with
exactly
like
what
no
a lot of
aircon
them
on.
are, though. I feel like just bitter little people
or just
that
very
don't
insecure about their own issues, and that's why. But yeah, that actually doesn't affect me really when people say shit about me. I'm like, oh, it's fine,
it's not
whatever.
nice,
but
though,
it does. Yeah, it doesn't help. Sometimes I'm like,
I feel like you two. I had a revelation then, and I feel
revelation.
I feel like you two are like such a good example of you're out there kind of doing things and living a life that people probably would in their minds imagine, oh, I could never do that. So like Teags is like a size 10 to 12, but she's out there being a model. Ned is a carpenter, but he's out there now like working as a full-time travel photographer and videographer. And it's not like you guys were like super young when you started either.
No.
You're like in your mid to late 30s.
We're old guys.
Yeah.
We're old. You always
They're
talk about
both
how
over
old you
30.
are. I'm 31 and still having fun.
Yeah,
Too
queen.
much. But that's the thing. It's like I feel like you guys are the
You're like the living example of you can
create your own life.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh,
create
you said
your
it at the
own
same time, girls.
Same brain.
You don't have to fit the mold that everyone
No.
suggests.
And also, Rihanna's 31, so don't even care. Love that. for me.
Love that.
And also like you guys are like, it's not like, don't want to like sound absolutely insulting, but it's not like you guys are born rich or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
people
we've
seem
made
to
it-
think that a lot of influencers were born into money
And
or whatever.
even now, that's what I mean with those messages, like referring to what I was saying before, how people are like, how do you travel full time? I don't think they realize the expenses and the sacrifices we have made in order to do that. Like, we don't own a home. We don't.
There was a
you know what
hard
I mean?
road to
Like,
get where
everyone
get to where
our
we were,
age,
definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
putting deposits on house and buying houses. It's not saying I want to buy a house. No, thank you. You got my Dolce soul. But, we've made a lot of sacrifices to be in
a lot
this
of credit
position.
card debts and
Like we have a lot of camera equipment and that shit ain't cheap.
And you've taken so many risks and like we knew you were really clever, Ned, and we've taken a risk.
thank you.
We knew you were really clever, but
Oh,
we didn't
gorge.
like know how good you were at fashion video, for example, and you did our video in New York for us for Endlessly Love Club, and it was honestly
It's my
fucking incredible.
Thanks,
Like,
guys. That was like a huge thing for me too, because I knew I could make that kind of stuff, and I'd muck around with that stuff. And when you said
were
the
also
idea,
so nervous when you
it
sent it
was-
to him. You were like, "Oh my god, I hope they like it." And I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God,
We just absolutely trusted you. We were like, you know,
I wasn't
so
going to be my
creative,
worst
like-
critic though, because I could pick it apart all day. But I mean, the end product worked out really well, and I was like so
was
stoked that you
amazing.
guys loved it.
This is a dream team, though.
Yeah.
You guys were a dream team. All of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And like you weren't even there,
Together.
Teagues, which is like pretty
No.
massive for you guys because you do so much together creatively
Yeah.
as well. So
I was
Ned was
shopping up
just
a
there
stone
like,
with M Davies.
Just
and we were all
flipping around.
hungover as fuck.
Yeah, that was a
Guilty.
tough morning.
I was there like with, meant to be professional, like owner of the brand, and I'm there like, hey.
I love
what
the
did you
night
do?
Anyone like,
before.
do you mind if we pull up and get a couple Ronas for the shoot?
No, but I think that's really cool for people at home to kind of take note of. Like Tegan and Ned are just two people that were working at JB Hi-Fi and as a chippy, and they had like a dream, and they kind of literally did take a lot of risks to get to where you are now, and look at you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Just in here doing a podcast with Lucy and Nikki.
After
is
just shooting a
literally your
campaign
oyster.
again,
Yeah,
like, we just booked him again. It's
I was
perfect.
the intern today. I was the shit kicker. Love that for me.
Yeah,
It
we
was
just
fun.
shot
Yeah.
a campaign, Ned on video again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one actually.
Yeah,
It's
it's
round
gonna be
two.
fun. It's
Yeah.
gonna
Going to be a
mood.
mood.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
So Teagues, back to body image stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a
I
bit
think Nick's got
sidetracked
some
there.
questions for
Yeah.
you.
Ooh, are these the Queenie questions?
Not yet,
Oh,
not yet.
got
But
excited.
like going back to Instagram and like how you were saying, like even sometimes you will be scrolling and kind of get a bit like, holy fuck, like this is like almost repetitive the way the girls kind
Yeah.
of look on Instagram. Like what advice would you give to young girls to like not compare themselves?
Well, I feel like you just said it. Like you just can't compare yourself because everyone is different, and that's what we have to embrace. Like we can't keep trying to look the same way and do the same thing, but even in everyday life too with everything, like what you were just saying about what me and Ned do. It's like you don't have to fit the mold. There is no
Yeah.
mold. You just have to be yourself, embrace it, because who's to say what should be the standard? Like,
Yeah.
you've just got to embrace it. And confidence is the biggest thing. And
Like
it's the
learn to
most-
love yourself, I
Learn-
guess.
yeah, learn to
One of
love
my
yourself.
favorite quotes is
Tell me.
comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I love that
That's
quote.
so
I love
true,
that.
though, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
So girls
So
listening
true.
at home, just remember that. There's
Just-
only one of you.
There is only one
What
of
is that
you.
other one you put up the other day, Dr. Zeus?
Live it up.
Today you are you. That's truer than true. There's nobody else that's youer than you. Dr. Zeus wrote that.
Heartwarming.
Cute.
Sigh. Hashtag sigh.
Um,
No, but yeah, you've just got to embrace it
Poetry
and just be
podcast.
confident
Yeah,
and just own it.
I love that.
Like strut your stuff. Strut it.
It's hard. It's one of those things. We talk about this all the time on the podcast, but it blows my mind how people compare themselves and like, oh my God, that girl is so awesome. And it's like, well, no, that girl's quite unhappy as well. It's like no one's
Everyone,
happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's got something that they're probably wishing they had on someone else. You got straight hair and you're looking at someone with curly hair.
Oh
Like,
my
it's
God,
just-
every day I just like curse myself
The
because
grass is
I
always-
have
Lucy
fucking
goes
botched
guilty.
hair. And Nick just walks out with a fabulous do. You ready to go? I'm
Sensual.
like, were you born with ringlets?
The grass is always greener though. Like you're
Yeah,
always going to want
exactly.
the other
What are you,
team.
are you
You
dying
don't
for some
have.
cheeky ringlets?
Yeah, I love some
Ned would
ringlets.
actually wear ringlets well.
Bro, living it up.
Getting on to Queenie questions though, we've actually got heaps and
Oh,
one,
do we?
one that I want to ask you guys
Excited.
because this is an absolute ripper story.
Oh no, I'm scared.
How'd you meet? Well, that is kind of like you can go briefly
Kirsch.
that, but tell us about your first date.
Oh, my God,
yeah.
Kirsch. So Ned's really extra. I thought I was extra, but Ned's pretty extra. And so basically, I moved to Newcastle. Was it? We were talking about this before. Was it 2012 or 13?
13. Yeah, I
should
just
know
got
that.
back from overseas. Yeah.
So Ned had been living in Berlin/Canada for however many years. I had been living on the Central
Doing
Coast.
God knows what.
And
I know a couple things.
God knows what he was doing in Berlin. I moved to Newcastle because I just needed to move away from the Central Coast. I'd been in a pretty shitty relationship, and I was like, all right, well, I can't afford to go to Sydney. I'm going to go to Newey. And I knew one friend, and through that one friend, I remember that I had met this other girl before who is now still my best friend, Cherie. So Cherie had been saying to me, you have to meet this guy, Ned. And I was like, DJ, no thanks.
Thank
what
you,
a wanker.
Cherie.
And Wilso, I think, was in Ned's ear being like, oh, Cherie's got this new friend, Tegan.
Yeah.
Who's a hottie spaghetti. So yeah, we were kind of always seeing each other out, I guess.
Yeah. We just kind of met up through them, basically. Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
I think it was the night that I took you back. We all had a party at my place, and I took everyone back.
He was
I think
trying to be a
even the
hero.
present
Oh my
were
God.
all
He
up
invited
there,
me
Sex
back.
vibes.
just
And then
playing
ignored
music,
me.
just getting pretty panelled.
And I was like, boo-hoo, I'm going home. No one's paying attention to me. So I cried and went home because I was like, I don't have any friends. And Ned was just being a hero and DJing up in his bedroom. And then he broke his collarbone that night. So that's what we get.
Yeah, I went out for a
me.
skate, like it was maybe 4 a.m. or something, and I just decided I wanted to go for a skate down the street, and I broke my
his
collarbone.
And then the next time we saw each other was at Fanny's, shout out to Fanny's. And I, this stage, had some friends and we were going out because the guy from the presets was playing and Ned was playing before, I think.
Yeah, before.
And we were trying to get in because the line was huge and it took us like maybe an hour, but me and my friends eventually got into like the VIP line, don't know how. And then Ned goes walking in with his broken arm in a sling and he sees me and he was like, oh, Teags, oh, like, do you need me to get you in? I was like, no, I'm in,
Modern-day
I'm in the VIP line. Would really.
Trying to be nice. Yeah.
And then after that, I think we had each other on Facebook. You asked me for a first date.
Tell us what he arrived in.
Oh,
So we go to Zinc for coffee and he's late and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like, he's taking his time. You were like 20 minutes late or something. And I was like, this is so bad. He rocks up in like bloody knee-high army
they weren't
boots
knee,
and his arms
like
in a
shin,
sling. And he was
mid-shin
like-
They were like
boots.
lace
He was like,
boots.
I'm really sorry I couldn't do my
I'm talking
shoelaces up.
14 holes.
Because he had his arm in a sling, he couldn't do his shoelaces up, but he had to wear those shoes. We have a style queen over here.
I love that. He was running late for the
had to look
date
good,
purely
yeah.
because he couldn't lace up his fucking
His
knee-high
knee-high
lace
combat
up
boots.
combat boots.
So funny. But that's kind of how we met.
And that's why you're meant to be.
You guys are seriously meant to be.
Kurt.
Another question someone had, which I feel like is a good one. You obviously travel a lot as a couple. Tips for like arguments and stuff.
Ooh.
We definitely argue, 100% we do.
I feel like a lot of
Definitely
people argue
bicker.
when they travel.
Yeah, we
A
don't
lot
have
of
big
them-
fights. It's just like arguing over.
just over shoots and spots and angles and whatever else. and
Usually me being heaps grumpy in the morning or hungry.
she's not a morning person at
Yeah.
all. So.
That's usually
And if
what
I don't have a coffee, I'm feeling the same way too. So
But I don't know. I guess it's hard because we just kind of work the way we work. So I guess just, I don't know what would
it's
be your
funny,
best
like
advice?
we'll go in with a plan and get the job done, but even when we go in with absolutely no plan, we'll still get the job done. Sometimes even better, even though there's been an argument, it'll still everything works out.
Yeah.
So.
And never go to bed angry at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like we never go to bed angry. Do
Nah,
we?
we apologise eventually.
Yeah. Well, it's never big fights. It's just arguing
No,
over
yeah.
little things.
It's mainly you apologising to me.
Yeah, it's
so.
usually me being a
Well,
bitch
you're
'cause
the
it's super
hot-headed
nice.
one,
Yeah.
so I can understand
I'm
that.
a Taurus like Lucy Jackson over there.
Oh, we're
We are
firing.
bold
Yeah.
and
Strong
proud.
Strong, stubborn bulls.
Yes.
Okay, one more because I feel like this is a good question.
Hit us.
How do you stay organised while travelling?
Ooh. Oh, wow. We are so bad with that.
Yeah, not very organised, but it still works.
We're like you girls. We wing it a lot, like very last minute decisions.
See, I would disagree considering we've done a small amount of travel with you, Tegan. I feel
Actually,
like
yeah,
you
sorry.
know for shit, you know shit way further in advance than we do. And you're always like, hey, Luce, just checking in. Do you know if we've booked that hotel yet? I'm like, can I do it the day before?
Yeah.
No, they're like, where are we staying in New York? We're like, not sure, Queen.
Yeah.
I'll
Like,
see you
get
there.
your shit together, Carol.
I guess, yeah. Some things like if we go away for a weekend, we'll throw our entire wardrobe into suitcase each and go, you know, because
Oh, yeah,
we just
we're
don't
bad
know
with
that kind
packing.
of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. But as far as like equipment and stuff like that, we're fairly organised. Like with
Yeah.
our equipment,
You've
we
got
always
an
have
awesome
everything
little travel
charged.
bag with all your kit
good
in
travel
it.
bag.
Yeah.
All our kits in it. We always make sure everything's charged the night before. We always research where we're going. Like we were saying before, Pinterest, Instagram, Google, like read blogs and stuff like that. So we always know what we're going to do when we get there.
You know what
Rough-
you guys should do?
Oh, go tell
What's
me.
that?
Here we go.
Revelation, PTY Ltd. Maybe I can be like a part owner of it.
Yeah, do it. Here we go.
I think you should make a travel app.
Well, we want
right.
to, but we need someone. If anyone knows how to make an app,
We have
Holla.
I don't
talked
know
about
how
that.
to make an app, but I've got money.
We-
I'll just throw some at you.
we
to
Yeah.
just
make it.
need an app creator. We've got all the ideas there ready to
Yeah.
go. We just need someone that knows.
It was on
anyone.
the cards for a little while there. We were talking to a few people about making like a filter style app, but incorporating travel stuff with it as well.
Yeah.
But
Lots
I
of hot
mean,
tips.
we just have so many other little projects going on that
Hard,
Yeah.
It's
It's
really hard
to find time.
We
Like,
just
we
need
just-
someone.
Can I just say
Has the
feels?
yeah,
feels? Yeah, you with your bloody million things going on at once.
yeah,
It's hard, but I reckon if anyone can do it, it's you two.
true.
You can do it.
Right.
Give
All
it
right.
a
So all
shot.
those app creators
Yeah.
out there, hit us up.
Hit us up. Well, guys, we're probably going to have to wrap that up. That's been
Yeah.
like pretty much bang on an hour. But thank you so much for coming on Happy
Thanks
Hour.
for
Been great,
having
thank
us. I've
you.
been
It's
waiting.
It's been a highly
Oh my
anticipated
God.
episode, Queen.
Literally,
Yeah,
everyone
great to be
wants
here.
you guys.
I love that.
I think we'll get you back for a round 2.
Can you
Another
please?
should be
show.
Because
good,
I'm going to
yeah.
go
Love
home
that.
and listen to this myself because I vibe this podcast
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Listen to it in Dolce.
I'm going to listen to it in Dolce Soul.
In Dolce Soul. And for those of you who are wondering, soon you will be able to rent Dolce Soul.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
jump onto our Instagram.
Hopefully
Dolce
this
Soul Camper.
year. Fingers crossed. Yes.
Definitely this
Yeah,
year.
definitely. It will be this year.
Far out.
Yeah.
Let's
Mid-year.
hope it's this year.
Well,
We'll
This
post it
year's
in the group
flying
as well
though,
so you
like,
guys
it's
can all
already-
check it out.
It's February like 5th and you're like, hopefully you can rent it this year.
Oh, but you know when you
Bloody
plan
hell.
out, I was saying you plan out the calendar, and all of a sudden I feel like our year's
Calendar's
almost
already
gone.
backed
So
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Turn up for Mexico.
Turn up.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
go, Queens.
Lego.
It's actually my 32nd too when it's your 30th, by the way.
Oh, well, we'll
We'll
have to
have a
celebrate
special
over some
night.
shandies, Joel.
Some Margies for Tegan as well.
All right, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, you guys.
Pleasure. I love you so much.
Oh my God, you guys keep us so young.
And
Oh
we're
my
going
God,
to
you're
link
a-
all of Ned and Tegan's handles on our IG account, but shoot them to us now quickly. What's your Instagram handles?
It's Ned Kelly.
Perfect.
Tegan Philippa, TG and PHILLIPA. Always playing at home.
You
Tegan
can
and
find them
preset.
Yeah.
And Dolce Soul Camper.
Beautiful.
Just follow through. Love that.
Love you guys.
Love
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks for
Thank
having us.
Mwah.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Spin Studio Network. To stay up to date with us, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, leave us a review, and follow us on Instagram at @we_the_wild ones. Cheers, babes.